Hi, I am Katina Horton, the Love and Freedom Toxic Relationship Recovery Coach. And today's Bible teaching is entitled 6 Reasons You're Giving Your Power Away, Part 3. I just want to remind you that we do what? We wear a tie so that we can make an impact. That means we're analyzing, we're troubleshooting, implementing, empowering, and impacting the women in our homes, communities, and around the world. And without further ado, we're going to go on right on into part 3 of this Bible teaching, right? So the fifth reason why you're giving your power away is you have not found the common denominator. When you add or subtract fractions, right? You have to find a common denominator. And if you don't, you can't solve the problem. You're just sitting there like, okay, 1/2 plus 5/10 equal what? The answer is just not going to come to you out of thin air. You got to do what? You got to really analyze that problem. You got to find the common denominator, right? You got to think about the number 5 and the number 10 and start figuring out what number common numbers they have that they can both go into together, right? You got to find that least common multiple, so to speak, right? And if you don't find the common denominator, you cannot solve the problem. The problem has you instead of you having the problem and being in control of the problem, right? Every time you and Mary get together and talk, you have a good time. That's as long as you don't talk about whatever new blessings and things that God is doing in your life, right? As long as you don't talk about the blessings that God is bestowing upon you, you're good to go. But every time you talk about something new, first of all, what Mary does is that she pretends like she doesn't even hear you. And the first time it happened, you were thinking, well, maybe Mary didn't hear me. Maybe she thought I said something else. So you repeat what it is you just said. No, it's not that Mary didn't hear you. She's literally ignoring you, right? And then either she's doing that, she's pretending like she doesn't hear you, right? AKA ignoring you, or she'll make passive aggressive remarks, AKA put downs about whatever it is that God is doing in your life, right? And every time she does this, it leaves your soul wounded, right? You're wounded. You're left feeling wounded and you're left feeling powerless. You're left with those soul wounds, right? And that powerlessness feeling, right? You keep giving Mary the keys to hurt you. The common denominator is talking about the new things that God is doing in your life, right? The new things you've received and or the new downloads that God is giving you, right? You got to cross it off the discussion list. It's just simple as that, right? And so the thing is that you want to be able to talk about what it is that God is doing in your life, right? However, your need is to be able to retain your power and have connection, right? But it's not going to happen with Mary. Why? Mary has an issue with what God is doing in your life. Mary has shame and insecurities and unresolved trauma, right? All of that from the childhood that she never took care of. And because of that, Mary is not going to be able to be the one that's going to supply the needs for you, right? What Mary is going to do is what? Keep disempowering you. And you're going to keep disempowering yourself by going ahead and giving Mary the key. Here you go, Mary. Go ahead and hurt me every time, right? As Mary's going, I can't hear you. I don't know what you're saying. I can't hear you. Only thing I can do is make you feel bad about your blessings, make you feel bad about the things that God is doing in your life in order to increase my own self-esteem. That's all Mary can do. You got to find another friend to talk to. Talk to God till you can find someone you can trust, right? And so the thing about it is, when it came to Joseph, he wanted to tell his brothers and his father about his dreams. His father was one thing, his brothers, they couldn't stand him. So you're going to tell a person that can't stand you, obvious that their countenance has changed toward you. You're going to tell a person that cannot stand you, your dreams, when they already can't stand you, they already hate you. The hate they had for him was already the common denominator. But you thought telling them your dreams was going to erase the hate. Okay. In Genesis 37, it says what? Now Israel loved Joseph more than his other sons because Joseph was a son born to him in his old age. And he made a robe of many colors for him. When his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers, They hated him and could not bring themselves to speak peaceably to him. Then Joseph had a dream. When he told it to his brothers, they hated him even more. He said to them, listen to this dream I had. There we were, binding sheaves of grain in the field. Suddenly my sheaves stood up, and your sheaves gathered around it and bowed down to my sheaves. Are you really going to reign over us? His brothers asked him. Are you really going to rule us? So they hated him even more because of his dream and what he had said. Then he had another dream and told it to his brothers. Look, he said, I had another dream. It wasn't enough they hated him already. It wasn't enough that he told him dream number one when hate was already the common denominator. So here he go with another dream. And this time the sun, moon, and 11 stars were bowing down to me. He told his father and brothers, and his father rebuked him. What kind of dream is this that you've had? He said, am I and your mother and your brothers really going to come and bow down to the ground before you? So he's like, wait a minute, what you talking about? Us bow down to you? Like you, God, what is going on? His brothers were jealous of him, but his father kept the matter in mind. So that means what? His father probably was kind of like, I don't know what all of this is about, but I'm going to keep this in mind just in case I need to use this information later, right? Just in case it comes in handy, okay? The sixth and final reason you're giving your power away is you fear being punished, right? So you don't set up any boundaries. Because when you set up a boundary, right? Here's an example of the boundary you have set up. I'm sorry you're going through this. I hope things will get better. You told your friend that. And I can't be your emotional punching bag / poison container. I just cannot do it. The next thing you know, she ghosts you, right? Then pop up in 5 days. The next time she popped up in 7 days that you said this. So the next time 2 years had passed and she messaged you like none of this had happened before. Hey, sis, how's it going? And you're like, what in the world? You've been gone for 2 years and you pop back in with this hey, sis, like it never happened. And then you say, well, I hope I didn't offend you by letting you know that I could not be used as an emotional punching bag. And then she's like, what you talking about? I don't have no clue what you talking about, sis. The last time we were together and I told you that I could support you in everything, but I could not be used as your emotional punching bag and have you keep damaging my soul like that. So it was best that we didn't even talk about that. I don't have a clue what you talking about, girl. I don't even have a clue, sis. And so they playing the nut role, right? And with Samson, he was emotionally immature, right? And you got to remember with emotional immature people, they always threaten to leave you or they will ghost you all the time, right? And then if something better comes along in their eyes, because think of teenager, right? Then they really gone. They are really piecing out. See ya, wouldn't want to be ya. They're gone when it comes to emotionally immature individuals. And that's what happened with Samson. He was betrayed, right, by his wife, and she hurt him. But his flight trauma response told him, peace out. Don't talk to her about what she did to me. Don't tell her why I'm leaving or why I feel like I need to leave or what I'm going through and about the loss from this riddle and about the loss that I feel, the loss of trust I have. Don't say anything. Just peace out. Just flight, right? We cannot expect to handle people like objects and think they're going to be okay. And all he had to do was to go get a goat and bring that to his wife and everything was going to be okay after he peaced out on him. Everything is fixed. Your father or your mother abandoned you and they come back with 25 gifts worth $25,000 and they think that's going to fix all the years. The presents are going to fix the lack of presence and bring back all the years that you lost with them, right? Setting a boundary often leads to abandonment, right? And it's like if the person wants to go, they get to the point where they want to go. Sometimes the best thing to do is to what? Release them and let them go. Let them stay gone, as a matter of fact. You want to go? Okay, I'm sorry that it's gotten to the point that we have to part separate ways. However, if you want to go, I cannot make you stay. Here's my blessing. I release you. I pray God's blessings upon you. Go ahead and go, right? And that's all we can do. And so in scripture, what had happened is that Samson had this riddle that he gave to these 30 men. He thought he was going to win. He didn't think his wife was going to betray him. He couldn't handle it. And then Judges 14, starting at verse 12, it says, "Let me tell you a riddle," Samson said to them. "If you can explain it to me during the 7 days of the feast and figure it out, I'll give you 30 linen garments and 30 changes of clothes. But if you can't explain it to me, you must give me 30 linen garments and 30 changes of clothes. Tell us your riddle," they replied. "Let's hear it." So he said to them, "Out of the eater came something to eat, and out of the strong came something sweet. After 3 days, they were unable to explain the riddle. On the fourth day, they said to Samson's wife, 'Persuade your husband to explain the riddle to us, or we will burn you and your father's family to death.' Did you invite us here to rob us?" So basically what they did, they blame shifted Samson's wife. They like, okay, it's your fault he's doing it. She didn't have anything to do with what Samson decided to do. Samson loved riddles. He loved playing games. He loved being the king of riddles. He loved winning riddles. She had nothing to do with that. So Samson's wife came to him weeping, and she said, "You hate me and you don't love me. You told my people the riddle, but haven't explained it to me. Look," he said, "I haven't even explained it to my father or mother. So why should I explain it to you?" She wept the whole 7 days of the feast, and at last, on the seventh day, he explained it to her because she had nagged him so much. Then she explained it to her people. On the seventh day, before sunset, the men of the city said to him, "What is sweeter than honey? What is stronger than a lion?" And guess what his reply was? "If you hadn't plowed with my young cow, you wouldn't know my riddle now." The Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon him, and he went down to Ashkelon and killed 30 of their men. He stripped them and gave their clothes to those who had explained the riddle. In a wage, Samson returned to his father's house, and his wife was given to one of the men who had accompanied him. So he didn't abandon her, right? Because of his loss in this riddle game, because of the loss of what? Trust that he had in her. He just peaced out. He flighted. Didn't give any explanation, right? Later on, during the wheat harvest, and I'm reading from Judges 15 now, Samson took a young goat as a gift and visited his wife. So this was supposed to make it all better, right? "I want to go to my wife in her room," he said, but her father would not let him enter. "I was sure you hated her," her father said, "so I gave her to one of the men who accompanied you." What else were they to think if Samson left and somebody leaves you, and they expect you to just keep holding on, right? They picked you up, right, like an object, and put you down whenever they want to, and they expect you to still be in that same spot on the shelf when they left, right? He said, "Isn't her younger sister more beautiful than she is? Why not take her instead?" Now that was foolish too, because of the fact that what happened is that how was her younger sister going to take the place of her, right? And then saying, "Isn't she more beautiful?" You saw what he just did. You saw what he just did to the one daughter. So you're going to offer the younger sister, you're going to offer your other daughter to be abandoned as well. That tells you a lot about what? Samson's wife's father's character, right? His father-in-law's character. But I want you to remember this. You are enough. Reclaim your power, soul, and identity. And then I want to challenge you to reclaim the power, soul, and identity of your calling. Grab your keys to the kingdom and get your inheritance. Again, I am Katina Horton, the Love and Freedom Toxic Relationship Recovery Coach. God bless you. Love you, family. Until next time.